Today's volatile economic landscape, businesses, especially SMEs, face numerous challenges. One critical area often overlooked is inventory management. So, if you are the CEO, CFO, COO of an SME, or a decision maker responsible for supply chain, inventories, and working capital, then the next few minutes are extremely important for you. We will be comparing inventory management in large companies versus SMEs, discussing 5 key reasons why SMEs should optimize their inventories, and most importantly, how can you unlock cash from inventories, because if it can't save you money, it is not worth your time. Large companies typically place significant emphasis on efficient inventory management, as overstocking ties up valuable cash, while understocking leads to missed sales opportunities. However, for SMEs, this aspect often gets overlooked, especially during the startup or scaling phase, as their priorities tend to differ. So, how can you strike the right balance? That's where inventory analytics comes in. On comparing the finances of 93 companies, it was found that cash conversion cycle of SMEs is much higher compared to that of large companies in real estate, automotive, buildings, life sciences, and semiconductor sectors. This means SMEs in these sectors take much longer to sell inventory, collect receivables, and pay bills. This is largely due to the bargaining power of larger companies, which often delay payments, and the challenges SME face in maintaining optimal inventory levels. For more details, you can visit my blog at this link, also shared in the description. Now, we will explore the 5 reasons for SMEs to optimize their inventory levels. Number 1, to meet their short-term obligations. Let's break down the cash conversion cycle. It's the time it takes to convert inventory into cash. The faster the cycle, the more cash you have available. Typically, a business buys goods from its suppliers on credit, sells it to their customers on credit, wait for customers to pay cash, and use it to pay back to its suppliers for the previously purchased goods, and the cycle continues. This is how money is made. To explain this with an example, imagine you are a manufacturer of carbon ceramic brake disc who procures carbon fibers as one of the raw materials with a payment term of 3 months from your suppliers. We call it DPO here, days payable outstanding. However, it takes you about 5 months from the time you procure carbon fibers to the time you sell the carbon ceramic brake disc to your customers, who could be an automotive OEM, and your customers take further 2.5 months to pay to you. So it takes a total of 7.5 months for you to generate cash from the raw materials purchased, while the suppliers need to be paid in 3 months' time. Hence, there will be a shortfall of cash for 4.5 months, for which you might end up taking overdraft facility or some other form of short-term debt, which can be very expensive and takes away your profits. SMEs often falls into this trap, while large companies are religiously managing their inventories to have a smooth flow of cash. Number 2, to fund your growth. Imagine your business is doing very well and you are planning to expand your operations and need capital to set up another manufacturing facility. There are typically 3 sources of funds available to any businesses. The most accessible and cheapest is the free cash flow, I, the cash available to the business after meeting all its obligations. The second is debt or loans for which the business would need to pay a certain interest rate, so it is expensive than free cash flow. And finally, there is equity, which is considered the most expensive. Hence, before any expansion, businesses usually perform an operational due diligence to release any unnecessary cash tied up, and often your inventories can provide the quickest way to release cash for your business growth. Inventory optimization unlocks free cash flow, the cheapest source of funding for your business. It's far more cost effective than relying on debt or equity. Number 3, to reward your shareholders. It's year end and the time for making that decision on dividend payments. But what? In spite of making some really good profits this year, there is not enough cash to pay dividends without risking your business operations. No business would like to be in that situation, as who does not love dividends? And for public listed companies, it can act as a boost to enhance share price. In case you're looking to sell a stake in your business or need to raise debt, but that excess cash trapped in working capital is reducing your business valuation, because of which you will be leaving money on the table. Number five, to build resilience to economic crisis. There is barely a business which does not get impacted by economic crisis, and often SMEs have to face the most severe brunt. When companies efficiently manage working capital, they can survive through shocks that impact business as usual. Also, if they receive an unexpectedly large order, the cash flow situation allows them to ramp up production. So, to recap, optimizing your inventory isn't just about efficiency, it directly impacts your bottom line. It helps you meet short term obligations, fund growth, reward shareholders, maximize business valuation, and crucially build resilience against economic downturns. Now comes the most important part of this video. So, how can we unlock cash from inventories? When it comes to supply chain management or inventory management, there are too many KPIs, which can be overwhelming to track and derive value. So in this part, I am going to explain you the three steps to identify and release cash from your inventories. Your first step is to target the SKUs that matter most. Business might have hundreds or thousands of SKUs and sometimes even more. The key is to focus on the ones which brings 80% of the revenue, and that should be a really small number of SKUs. In this chart, we see that 5% of SKUs contribute 80% of sales, 15% contributes 95%, and 65% contributes 100% of sales. And the remaining 35% SKUs are slow moving or obsolete stock, either they did not have any sales in the last 12 months. So get rid of these immediately. Second step is to segment your inventory based on demand volatility. Now, how that works? If we take example of automotive parts industry, demand for different products can vary significantly based on factors such as vehicle type, usage frequency, seasonal trends, and maintenance needs. In the semiconductor industry, demand for various products fluctuates depending on technological trends, innovation cycles, consumer electronics demand, and macroeconomic factors. High variable demand products experience large fluctuations in demand due to factors like seasonal trends, sudden changes in consumer behavior, or specific model launches, like batteries, where demand often spikes in colder months when batteries are more likely to fail due to weather conditions. The introduction of EVs can also lead to variability. The demand for carbon ceramic brake disc is generally high, particularly in the premium and luxury automotive segments. Graphic processing unit, which we call as GPUs. Demand for GPUs can spike dramatically during periods of high demand for gaming consoles, cryptocurrency mining, or AI and machine learning applications. Market conditions like the rise of AI or supply chain disruptions also heavily influence this demand. Now, medium variable demand products have a moderate level of variability in demand, often influenced by general wear and tear, vehicle age, or upgrades. The demand is relatively consistent but may still experience peaks. Some examples include oil filters. These are required regularly during vehicle maintenance, but usage may vary slightly based on driving habits and the time of year. Windshield wipers have moderate fluctuations in demand, often peaking during rainy seasons or after snowstorms, but generally needed regularly for maintenance. Microcontrollers, commonly used in automotive, industrial, and consumer electronics, have relatively stable demand but can see some variability with the introduction of new vehicle models, IoT devices, or home appliances. Low variable demand products are the ones generally having steady demand due to their widespread use in industrial, automotive, or consumer electronics, where replacement or upgrading cycles are slower. Headlights, tail lights, generally replaced only when they fail or during accidents, resulting in low variable demand. Analog chips, semiconductors, which convert real-world signals into digital data, have relatively stable demand across industries like automotive, healthcare, and industrial applications. While demand grows, it's usually steady and not highly volatile. Combining A and B yields an efficient analysis for managing inventories. High demand, low volatility items need a different strategy than those with unpredictable demand patterns. For any business, its most important SKUs are the ones in the top left corner. Hence, very high service levels should be maintained for these to ensure sales continue to flow. While the least significant are the ones on the bottom right, tailor your service levels to each segment. Do not overstock low demand items just to maintain high service levels. It's about finding the sweet spot. So if you're wondering, where is all the cash promised? Do not worry, as the third step includes quantifying, identifying, and releasing cash. The results speak for themselves. In this example, we see a potential 10% cash unlock, which translates to millions of pounds. Imagine what this could mean for your business. This is an anonymized example of how typically large companies manage their inventories. In this particular example, we note that the top left corner box was understocked, which could have risked business operations. So some cash investment is needed to increase the inventory levels here. But not to worry, as this cash can be released from overstocking in other segments, such as getting rid of slops and reducing the service level for other SKUs based on the prioritization order. Imagine this £4 million of cash available to be used elsewhere, such as reducing that credit line with high interest, or using this cash to further expand business, or distributing it as dividends to your shareholders. And it can be even more than 10% in your business if your inventory turnover is much lower. It is not theory from a book. It is a well-tested and proven method used by large companies. So, if you are with me so far and recognizes low inventory turnover as a problem in your business, please register for a free webinar at the link on the screen. In this webinar, I will be talking about how to achieve these 3 steps to unlocking cash practically. Finally, if this was of any help to you, please donate whatever you can to Cancer Research UK. Globally, 1 in 5 people will be diagnosed with cancer at some point in their lives, and in the UK the ratio is much higher with 1 in 2 people. Hence, let's do whatever we can to fight cancer. Thank you for watching me, and I hope to see you in the webinar. Until then, keep thinking about how your organization can turn data into decisions. See you soon.